Matt, how's your group look so far?
It's been a good. They've been busting their butts from day one to today, and they've shown constant improvement every single day. They've really bought into the run game, and it's really helped them out in the pass game in terms of what we're doing. And I really like their physicality that they're bringing on the perimeter, and they're making plays down the field, which is nice.
What's the biggest difference when you have a receiver like Shakir that catches so many passes? Everybody kind of knows it's the number one versus when you're scheming when you've got 5 or 6 that are pretty similar, but not all conference level yet.
Yeah, no, I think it's fun as a coach because you can really coach those guys that get in different positions and they can all affect the game in their own individual ways. Having Shaq, obviously is a very nice weapon to have. He's a very productive player, awesome person, but it's also nice having those 4, 5, 6 guys who can do a lot of a little in terms of what we're doing offensively, and it's moving around and put them in positions to be successful.
How's Austin Bolt?
He's doing a good job. Yeah, he's I think the same thing I've been telling you guys. It's his first season actually playing receiver, and you really see the growth he's having, not only as a deep threat, but as his transition as an intermediate route runner and getting comfortable playing space out there. And so he's doing a good job. His best football's in front of him, and he's going to continue to work hard and reach his potential.
What's the ideal number of receivers when you come into the season? You shuttle people in and out. Is there a number that you're looking for that you can work into the mix?
Yeah, no, I think it depends on the year to year, to be honest with you. If it's 8, if it's 6, sometimes it's going to be 3. You just got to make do with what you have, and I think we're in a very good position this year that we have, a number that could be 6, 7, 8 in terms of 6 to 8 people. So that's going to be a lot of fun for us as a staff, being able to mix and match guys in there and get guys involved in a lot of different areas.
Matt, I know that we've talked in the past about, when replacing Shaq, it's going to be a group effort. But looking it up, over the last 15 years, the average leading receiver on this team has had 73 catches for over 1,000 yards. So the fact that opportunity is out there for a guy in your room, how excited is that? How do they approach that?
Yeah, I think they're all excited for it. Now, which one's it going to be? That's the big question. And I think they're all excited to have that competitive spirit within that group. Like I always tell you guys, they're a tight-knit group, but they're also very competitive. And whoever takes that role, takes that step up, and is making the plays and the game's on the line, yeah, they're going to have a successful season. But who says it can't be me? Who says it can't be the other guy? It's going to be a lot of guys having that competitive spirit, making those plays, and they're all going to support each other, which is the best part.
As a guy that is a part of that run, you were right in the middle of that. What kind of honor comes with maybe getting a few more balls thrown your way over the course of a season?
I think the big thing for all our guys, and for me personally, it's all about winning football games, and you'll do whatever it takes to win a football game. And that's the testament we have in the receiver room right now. Is I don't think they care if they catch 1 pass or 25 passes in a game. They just want to win, and they're a competitive group, and that's why I love them because they don't really care who gets the credit. They're gonna block their tails off. They're gonna make the plays when they need to go make the plays. They're gonna have a lot of fun doing it together in a competitive environment.
Hank and Steph have mentioned how impressed they've been with Billy Bowens this offseason. What has he done to step up, and what makes him so effective?
Yeah, I think Billy's put the time and effort into the weight room and the conditioning aspects of things. He's one of those guys who's battled injuries throughout his entire career, and he really bought into that workout program and the training room, and allows his body to be healthy to go be at his best. Because when Billy's at his best, he's explosive, he's fast, he can make a lot of the catches down the field. He's always a good route runner. But just being on the field doing that is his biggest asset right now. He's been doing that this camp, which has been awesome to see him out there going doing his thing.
And he's kind of the guy who can take a top off a defense.
Yeah, he can definitely take the top off, but he can also run intermediate routes and be in the fly sweep game. He can do a lot of stuff because he's a very smart football player.
What does it take to go from being just a receiver on the squad, kind of contributing to somebody that's playing maybe at an all-conference level?
Yeah, I think I anticipate the same. I hold all those guys the same standard. Whether you're a first-day freshman or a 6-year senior, you got to live to that standard every single day. And so in terms of how we prepare, nothing changes if you're in that role or not in that role. The only thing that changes is you get the opportunity to go do it. And that's the best part is we're going to train these guys that have those opportunities. And when they get those opportunities, to take the most of them and shoot. Who says it can't be me making those plays? And so when that opportunity comes, cut it loose and have fun and act a fool and make a play.
How much do you relate to a guy like Davis Cutter? He's not much younger, to be honest with you, but he's engaged, he's been around football forever, very knowledgeable, he's a leader. How well do you relate with a guy like Davis Cutter?
Yeah, I think I relate with all those guys pretty well, to be honest with you. But Davis is an awesome person, first and foremost. Yeah, got engaged. He's taking the dive into marriage life, which I'm super excited for him and his fiance. But he's also a smart football player who really cares about the other guys in that room, wants to lead them and be a servant leader, and also show his abilities on the football field. And he's a grinder. He wants to outwork you in every facet of this process. And he continues to do that. He's going to reap all the benefits of all that hard work that goes into this thing.
He's going into his 6th year. How does he punch through whatever ceiling, exists on his football career?
Yeah, that's something we've been talking about, is just taking care of the simple things. And a lot of the simple things are just come down to the finer details of whatever you're doing. And there's always something to learn. So whether it's the first time you heard a new concept or it's the 6th year learning the same concept over and over and over again for the 100th time, you got to take one little thing away from it. And that's something I think Davis does a really good job of, is he's always looking for that little edge. Where can it be? Whether it's an alignment, whether it's a technique, whether it's how to run a certain route versus a certain coverage. And that's something that's going to give him that edge when it comes down to him breaking through in terms of his 6th senior season.
How would you describe, how Hank works with his receivers? I know in the offseason, he kind of had some of those guys come to California and train with him, and it seems like he's almost taken that upon himself to make that relationship better. What have you seen from Hank?
Yeah, I think he's very committed to it, and it's a two-way street, obviously, too. And Hank and the receivers done a nice job of having that two-way street of working back and forth and spending time outside of the facility, whether it's actually doing football stuff or just hanging out with the guys, playing some video games, going out to dinner, being college students, because that camaraderie, that trust level is going to be a huge thing when it comes down to a fourth quarter, 4th down and 4. Who am I going to go to? I got to trust my receiver to go across the defender's face and let that ball fly. And they've built that over the course of the last 6, 7, 8 months this offseason, and it's really showing up this fall camp.
Was there I don't know, when last season ended, was there kind of a spark from him or for the receivers to build that?
Yeah, I think right after the season, all those guys were. I mean, it wasn't very long after the bowl game that those guys were back in this facility working, and they had that chip on their shoulder and that edge about them that they wanted to go out there and prove to everybody what they're all about. And they put the time and effort into it from right before New Year's of last year all the way up till to now. So it started really quick.
I'm kind of nasty about it, but not having the number one guy and having the ball be spread around. When we talked to Coach Plow, he said it's as good for the quarterback and the players as it is the coaches, not game planning to try to get it to one guy. Have you noticed with Hank and with the receivers when it's not just one guy, when the ball's getting spread around? I mean, have you noticed that in the first 12 days that it's kind of helped the offense?
Yeah, I think it's definitely noticeable, and it kind of gets us into a good rhythm, a good flow offensively, especially when the ball is getting spread around to different guys. Then you might get a substitution with 3 more receivers in, or a different tight end, different running back in, and a lot of guys are getting that opportunity to go make a play, and it might be an explosive play here, explosive play there, and it just creates that rhythm that we need as an offense. And Coach Plow and myself, we trust a lot of those guys in the receiver room to be interchangeable and go in different spots, and they're still going to have the ability to go make those plays. So it's a lot of fun, and it gets us in that rhythm. And when we get that rhythm, it's hard to stop.
I mean, I'm sure everybody would love to have Shaq back. I'm not saying that, but
Yeah,
when you're able to spread the ball around, what does that do for the receivers? Whether they know they might have more of a chance to get it, maybe that one makes them work harder in practice. I don't know, but for Hank to not always be looking one direction, how does that all come together to help?
Yeah, I think they're all just playing the game, and we're trusting the rules. We're trusting the process that we have for our offense. And there's not like, hey, we got to throw the ball to this guy or throw the ball to this guy. No, it's just we're trusting the process. What the defense shows, we have our answers built in, and wherever you're at in terms of that scheme, you have the opportunity to go make a play. And then you might go make a play, and we might sub you out and get another guy in there, and then you might get an opportunity to make a play. We might hand the ball off. You might have a touchdown block as a receiver. Maybe we go run the ball, and the tight end's going to get a pass catch, whatever it might be. So everybody gets involved, and it brings excitement. But the big thing is that rhythm that creates with all 11 guys on the field.
Whether it's Cole Wright or Ben Ford, you guys have a lot of slot receivers this year, right? What do you look for in that position, and who has stood out in that role to you so far?
Yeah, I think Davis, Latrell, Ben, Cole Wright have all done a nice job in that slot, and then Davis, Latrell, and Cole, they can kind of interchangeable inside, outside, and so the big thing with those guys is the intelligence level in terms of football IQ is a big thing for us. The ability to separate, different playing inside and outside because you're getting more against linebackers, nickelbacks, safeties than at corners all the time. So they got to be able to run routes a little bit differently, attack leverages a little bit differently, and that comes with having a smart brain on you. A lot of times is knowing what coverage that is, and you can attack that defense in a certain way. But yeah, all 4 of those guys have done a nice job this camp attacking those defenses in the slot as well as on the outside, and it's allowed them to be more productive because they're getting catches from the inside and outside, and they're moving all over the place, which is a lot of fun for them too.
Picking up on the defensive side, if you have not one receiver, do you think you see more of an honest defense? Do they have to play it differently?
Yeah, they do, and our defense does a nice job throwing a lot of different looks at us. But yeah, I think if there's this one guy, it's very easy. You're going to get two over the top of that guy. Whereas you got kind of 3-4 guys out there who, it's not just the one guy. They're kind of by committee that we've been talking about. Yeah, they got to play us honest, but at the same point, there's going to be certain circumstances where there's going to be tendencies for us that we can't get. Can't fall into that trap and understand our tendencies of where guys are at and where they're getting pass catches. And so moving guys around enough, which we're doing a good job of right now, and the testament to our guys being smart enough to move around, that we just can't have those natural tendencies that are going to come up in those situations.
You mentioned Latrell Caples. Obviously came on late last year, and he battled some injury stuff, but how's he looking so far?
Yeah, he's looking great. He's coming off the ball, very explosive, making a lot of plays on the field. He's getting involved in the run game, the fly sweep game, and the special teams. It's really his time for the opportunity for him to go now. And yeah, he's battled some injuries, so I'm really proud of him, the way he's grown himself off the field and really built that body armor up this offseason that he can go cut it loose this fall.
Shaq won so many moment of truth balls last year. Who's been that guy in practice so far this year?
Yeah, I think Latrell's one of those guys. I think Steph Cobbs, Billy Bones, Austin Bolt have all shown that moment of truth type of catch for the Broncos. And then I think we still have some other guys in there too that need to be more consistent with the moment of truth catches. And so that's something we drill every single day. And it's yes or no. You made the catch or you didn't. You got to be a frisbee catching dog. And so if you don't have that mentality, we better create it with how we go operate in the pre-snap and go cut it loose in the post-snap.
I know that it goes back to you'd love to have a guy like Shaq, but at the same time, is it cool to kind of watch guys grow and figure out what they're capable of? Because, like we said, there's a lot of catches out there.
No, it's awesome to see all those guys. Like I said, from the first-day freshmen to the 6-year seniors, everybody's growing. I'm growing every single day, and those guys help me grow. They make me a better person. And so I just try to do the same thing for those guys and grow those guys every single day and hopefully teach them some football along the way. And actually have a lot of fun doing it together, but at the same time, holding the high standard of wide receiver play at Boise State in all facets, run game, pass game, and special teams, because we want to impact the game as many ways as we can.
One more about Davis. What do you feel like his best attribute is?
I think his brains. Yeah, he's a smart football player. He definitely plays been around the game his entire life, and he's a coach on the field, just like Connor Riddle. I mean, you can tell those guys were coaches' kids, and they know the game very, very well. And so they see it from a different lens sometimes than somebody who wasn't around the game as much as they were.
There's been a lot of talk about the O-line being much improved this year with some of the new pieces and stuff. And from a wide receiver, quarterback, passing game perspective, what has it been noticeable in terms of whether Hank has more time or, I don't know, in terms of just how the O-line is helping the overall offense?
Yeah, I think it's an 11-man effort, in terms of the run game, pass game. Everything's got to be an 11-man effort. And so whether it's a pass protection or a run game, it's just as much on the receivers as in the offensive line. You got to come off the ball with an explosive spirit about you so the offensive line can get their pass protection so we can go win on those routes. And the run game, it's the same thing. If we're responsible for blocking somebody, we better go block somebody because the O-lines count us to go do that. And I think we're playing a really good collective 11-man football right now. And so if we're all on the same page in that rhythm, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch us and see how far we can grow this thing.